Evening all, welcome to Carrow Road. We're a bit later than normal. We were waiting to speak to one Norwich player and then another Norwich player, and ended up being Tim Krul, but here we are. The lights have been turned off and you can probably hear the fireworks going off in the background, and feels like that's quite appropriate for Norwich really, given that they've just gone 7 unbeaten, 5 wins in those 7 games, third place, only on goal difference behind Watford in second, and Reading lost again. I think they're going to drop like a stone through the Championship, to be honest. I think they were in a very false position, but obviously it's Norwich that we care about, and a 1-0 win over Swansea here this afternoon. And when I turned up at about 1 o'clock, it was beautiful sunshine, and I took my coat off when I first got into the press box for about an hour of being here. Now it's absolutely freezing again, like it was on Tuesday night. But again, behind closed doors here at Carrow Road, but Norwich still going along nicely, and they go into an international break now, which means they can, well, some of them at least can have a breather. Daniel Farke can have a breather. He can get a bit of time on the training pitch with some players. One player who may get a bit more attention than others is Barley Mumba, who has sort of sprung to prominence this afternoon with a really, really impressive performance off the bench. And you've got to give a bit of credit to Daniel Farke as well, because he made a brave substitution in the 68th minute when it was still 0-0. And, you know, I was probably with most people in the updates at pinkham.com and thinking, that's brave. Josh Martin and Barley Mumba on for Poeta and Sorensen at that stage of the game against a good team against Swansea, who were banging this game. This was a real, probably other than the Bournemouth game, I would say is the toughest team that Norwich have played so far this season. They were organised, a lot of ability in there. They're going to be a good bet to make the playoffs again. Snuck in on the final day of last season, and Tim Krul was needed again to make sure that Norwich could nick it in the end. And it was Marco Stiepermann, 84th minute, first time he's scored since April 2019 in the Blackburn game, the night that they sealed promotion. Now, everyone remembers Rancic's goal, don't they? But it was Stiepermann who opened the score in early doors that night, wasn't it? So a big moment for him, but Mumba absolutely pivotal to it. And he had done it twice before up to that point as well. You know, this is somebody who came in without too much fanfare in the summer, really. You know, he's been at Sunderland. He was on loan at South Shields in, I think that's the Northern Premier League, off the top of my head. He'd only played a few games, scored a couple of goals as well, and then obviously their season got cancelled in March and he didn't play again. He'd been into the Sunderland team at a young age. He'd made his Championship debut, I think 17, might have even been 16, on the final day of that season that they got relegated from the Championship. They thought big things of him as a defensive midfielder. Then obviously that club has gone through a tough time, and he didn't get too much in terms of game time, and they started turning him into a wide player. He played on the wing and at full back at Sunderland, still so young. I think he's 19 now. I haven't got that in front of me, but I think he's turned 19. So Norwich didn't pay a great deal of money for him. He's one that Sunderland didn't really want to lose, but they have brought him in. He's had to be patient. He looked good at Luton on that opening day, didn't he, in the League Cup? And eventually he gets his chance off the bench today. 2 changes going into this one. Daniel decided to bring in Kenny McLean in place of the injured Lucas Rupp, and he brought in Christoph Zimmermann in defence for Ben Gibson. Both of them, hopefully not major issues. A hamstring tweak for Rupp and just muscle tightness is what Daniel described the problem as for Gibson. So they both came in, and before the game there was a fair bit of gnashing of teeth, really. People sort of talking about the lack of depth and things like that. But when you stand back and look at that, Norwich are bringing in 2 title winners there. They're bringing in Kenny McLean, Scotland international, and Christoph Zimmermann, a player who's been hugely popular with Norwich fans in the last few years, and we know is very much capable of performing well at this level. And they both played their part in a pretty solid performance tonight and this afternoon. The stats: Norwich ended up with 58% of possession, 21 shots to Swansea's 16, and 5 on target each. Swansea also hitting the post in the first half through Andre Ayew. So, you know, okay, that you would maybe like another option in there. Left back has been a little bit awkward, and again, Sorensen, it was a case of did fine defensively, did the sensible things really, but as we saw when Mumba came on, he doesn't offer you that width. Isn't going to be somebody that bombs up and down the wing, and as much as that can sometimes leave you open defensively, it also pins back the opposition, doesn't it, and helps create things. For instance, Poeta with Sorensen not bombing up and down alongside him, he often isn't getting too much space. So, yeah, Mumba took a big step forward. We'll have to see. You know, Kintier may well be fit again after the break, and you would have thought that you would still go with Kintier ahead of Mumba, but he's shown that he can definitely be a good backup for right back or left back. He is primarily a right-sided player, so exciting and really good going forward. And a couple of step overs involved, and for the goal, just basically drove it low. And Emi Buendia, a classy touch, just to tee up Stiepermann and blast it into the bottom corner. So yeah, that's a man that we're going to hear plenty about, I think, in the next couple of weeks when we sort of reflect on this one. And there's a lot of international duty coming up. I'll come on to that actually while I'm on it. Tim Krul, just speaking to him, and he says that Jasper Cillessen, the Valencia keeper, is injured, who he described as the number one for Holland. So he's hopeful that he's going to get plenty of minutes. So they actually play Spain in a friendly on Wednesday. A bit ridiculously, a lot of the countries seem to have organised friendlies ahead of their Nations League game. So quite a lot of islands. So a lot of countries have got three games, which just seems ridiculous with everything going on with the pandemic, to be perfectly honest. But that's what they're doing, and you may see Tim Krul in action for Holland, and I think he's on 9 caps, so could be a good opportunity for him there. And he said that last international break, when he went back and he finally made that first appearance for 5 years, his teammates were saying, "What's going on with you guys? 17th in the championship." He goes back there this time, 7 games unbeaten, up to 3rd place. So a good time for him. Made some crucial stops. I mentioned Boyheta. He really should have done better early doors with a shot that was blocked in the end, but he should have been burying, really. He's somebody that just not quite getting his confidence yet. I think you can see he's got the ingredients. Obviously, he's got that pace. But yeah, he really needs to build up his confidence. But we've seen, you know, you look at players even in the team today, and you know, Stiepermann, Vrancic, or Hernandez and Leitner, who obviously weren't involved today, but sometimes it takes players who've come in from overseas that little while to settle in. Lucas Rupp, of course, who, you know, didn't tear up any trees. And as I've said before, I thought some people treated him too harshly, given the team that he'd come into last year. But yeah, sometimes it does take. Wow, that is some fault, and they're really echoing around this empty stadium. So yeah, we'll just got to maybe just give him a little bit of time to develop, because we've seen that he can finish in the Polish league as well. Max Aarons, there was a lovely chance here. Lovely bit of control from a cleared corner on the edge of the box, and then just curled an effort just wide, which is a shame. That would have been a really, really good goal. But then Swansea did come to it, as I say. Connor Roberts has got a heck of a corner on him, and he put one in from the right. Ayew won it ahead of any Norwich player. Absolutely thumped it against Krul's right-hand post. So survived that one. Grant Hanley with a really important double block after that from Ayew and Corey Smith, one of 3 former Norwich players in action for Swansea today, alongside Ryan Bennett and Kyle Norton. Swansea got 5 yellow cards as well today, and 2 of those were Bennett and Norton. All of their back 3 got booked during the course of this game. Krul tipped a Jamal Lowe shot around the post just before half-time. Roberts was moved to right back. They made a change at half-time, moved to a 5-4-1 shape. A 4-5-1 shape. And it did work for them. I think they did sort of start to dominate Norwich in midfield more. The possession stats had been higher before half-time. So, yeah, but that was a crucial block from Roberts to deny Pukki. He got quite a lot of rough treatment today, Pukki. Actually, he seemed to... I think 3 of the yellow cards may have been on him, but yeah, there are a few snapshots, but in general, up against a back 3, didn't get too much joy, but he certainly persevered. Who else was there? The next save from Krul was Jamal Lowe, poked through by Matt Grimes, who'd come on at half-time, just inside him, and Hanley diving in at the last moment, and perhaps that just put him off enough, and he put it too close to Krul, and in the end, expecting to be making the save, but it was a very important one. As I say, 68th minute, that's when that double substitution comes from Daniel, and Barley Mumba starts bombing up and down that left side. Literally, almost immediately, he had one shot deflected through to the keeper, Freddie Woodman. And then there was a big moment in the 70th minute when Swansea were desperately calling for a penalty. The ball had come all the way through the box, and Max Aarons, who took a sort of clout to the head towards the end of the first half, and whether he was still a bit groggy in the second half, I'm not sure. But he took a touch when he really shouldn't have done. Should have just been clearing it. And then Bidwell nicks in, gets the ball, and I think he made too much of it. He sort of dived too much, and the referee then decided, no, you're not having that now. That if he'd gone down legitimately, but there wasn't a great deal of contact there. So got away with that one to a certain extent. But then swiftly following on from it, Ayew jumped onto the loose ball, fired a shot at goal, and that was a really good save from Krul to tip that one around his post. There's another one from Krul soon after where it's sort of similar, where Lowe put it too close to him. He really should have been burying it and not giving Krul a chance, but he did. And Krul made himself big and managed to sort of bat the ball away. And then finally, 84th minute, that goal comes. So they get there in the end, they make the breakthrough, and that was obviously the issue here on Tuesday night against Millwall as well. They couldn't force the breakthrough, but Swansea were certainly a much better, more ambitious, more attacking team than Millwall had been. So this is a real satisfying celebration for Norwich at the full-time whistle. 21 points after 11 games. This is basically the quarter point of the season. There isn't an exact quarter point. I guess it's halfway, so 22 and a half minutes into the Middlesbrough game after the break is the actual quarter point of the season. But 11 games played, 21 points, level with Watford in second place, both now just a point behind Reading, who probably won't be leaders for too much longer. And quite ominously, you've got Norwich, Watford and Bournemouth all there just behind Reading, and just makes you wonder whether the strengthening depth for the teams who've come down from the Premier League in this strangest and most unprecedented of all seasons will just allow them to have an advantage over a lot of teams. You know, you think about the players that Norwich had unavailable today. You've obviously got Dow, Hernandez, Byram. Then they were about Rupp, Gibson, Kintier, and there's one more who escapes me off the top of my head, but there is another one in the mix there somewhere, isn't there? Cantwell, who I didn't mention, did I? So that they are serious players who would get in certainly the squads, possibly the team of many clubs at this level. And for all the sort of worries about whether Norwich are going to be able to do it, they're in a very good position. If you'd have offered this to a Norwich fan at the start of the season, I think everyone would have sort of snapped the hand off that offered it, wouldn't they? And it's a real base to build on from here. If they can keep just bubbling along nicely like this through to Christmas, I think, again, this is off the top of my head, but I think it's still another 11 games until the end of the year. So this busy Saturday, Tuesday business is going to continue all the way through. We come back after the break with a game at Borough on the Saturday, and then at Stoke on the Tuesday. So that just sums up the championship. That's going to be a real tough 4 days. Both teams now pushing harder up towards the playoffs and showing a little bit of form. Obviously, a worn-up team at Borough, so you know it's going to be a difficult game. That one, you know, if they can just come through that unbeaten, then they'd be happy, I think, to be perfectly honest. To get a point at Borough and Stoke, you'd be reasonably happy. But I don't think Norwich will fear anyone. They're looking more solid. Tim Krul was asked about the fact that they still haven't conceded from a corner yet, and he actually sort of tapped his head to say, touch wood, that it's not happened yet. It was close today. Talking of wood work to stop Ayew from scoring from a corner. So, yeah, things are bubbling along nicely, and once this international break is out of the way, you know, they've got a lot of players away. You've got Ida, Pookie, Krul, McLean, Hanley. At the moment, Oliver Skip and Aaron's going away, the under-21s, Poeta with Poland. So, you know, there's big chances with all the football that they're playing that some of them come back with some kind of injuries. You wouldn't have thought many players at all will play all 3 games in the break for any nation, to be honest. But that's going to be the worry from this point on, given the little issues that they've already got here and there. But if you can then add, if you can still be in the mix by the time we get to New Year, and then you can add Dow, Byram and Hernandez back in, plus any more transfer business or bringing players back from loans like Famawo or Sanani and things like that, they could be in a really good position. But I'm sure no Norwich fan is getting carried away with it just yet, because we've been here before, haven't we, under Alex Neil and Neil Adams, come down from the Premier League, started off well, even been top of the table under both of those managers, weren't they? And then things have tailed off. But it doesn't feel like that's on the horizon at the moment for Norwich. It feels like they're building in the right direction, and that hopefully, as Tim Krul put it, they've got another couple of years to go through. Right, thank you very much for watching. Enjoy your international break. There's going to be plenty of football to keep you busy during that, which is helpful, given that we're now back into lockdown officially, aren't we? Still wearing masks, of course, at the games, but I'm allowed to not wear it while I'm recording this, because obviously not near anyone. But yeah, enjoy the break, and then we'll be back with you at Borough in a couple of weeks. Let us know what you thought of the game today in the comments below. If you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, then please do. And of course, pinker.com is the place to be to get all the reaction and